Daryl Dixon. Wow. I followed a girl to Los Angeles that I'd met in Tokyo, but I flew here from Spain. She came out to meet me and saw what I was doing in Spain and asked me if I wanted to move to LA with her. So I moved to LA, had a job fixing motorcycles, got in a fight with the guy running the motorcycle place, went to a party up in the hills, drank too much, yelled at a bunch of people from a second floor balcony in the living room. Somebody approached me about doing a play and talked me into it, to make a long story short. And a lady from William Morris was in the audience the first night and started side pocketing me, hip pocketing me, whatever you call that. And then my first job, I guess, was a play called Maps for Drowners at the Tiffany Theater up here on Sunset. So that's where she saw me, and so I guess that's my first job. Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes I have friends that are like, "Hey, I saw you in this movie. I think I want to be an actor. Can I meet your agent?" And I'm like, "I think it's not that easy." But it's a lot of work, and I think sometimes people think it's. Although we're at the Four Seasons having a coffee with a Mickey Mouse on the cover, it's not all glitz and glamour. I mean, a lot of it's a lot of hard work, and it's emotionally taxing. I mean, I did a film early on called Floating, and in that film, it's about a father who is in a drunk driving accident. His son is at the age where his friends are all leaving town and starting lives for themselves and starting to go to college and whatnot. And one of the scenes, the father, a bunch of bad things happen, and the father wheels himself out and sort of stands up out of the wheelchair and gives him a hug, and the kid breaks down. And it was my first film. I didn't really know what I was doing, but the director said, "How do you want to prepare for this?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. What are my options?" And I said, "Just give me a phone. I'm going to call my dad." And coincidentally, my dad was dying at the time, and he was in a wheelchair. And I just had a normal conversation with him, and they came and they got me. And we did the scene. But the first time we did the scene, I cried so much snot came out of my face that they couldn't use the take, which I begged them to use, but they wouldn't use. And then the second time we did it, and we broke for lunch, and we shot up in Maine. I'm going off on a tangent, but we shot up in Maine, and afterwards a grip came up to me and he said, "I know you didn't go to lunch, but I want to tell you, like, nobody really ate their food and nobody spoke in the lunch tent." And I was like, "Oh, like, this isn't just, I mean, this is for real." So after that happened, I had a lot of auditions to cry and stuff, and it got to the point where I would audition you a little bit, like, are you, I don't know if I want to give you that, so you kind of have to figure out who you are and what do you want to be, and you don't just barf all your emotions out all the time, because you'll become exhausted. It's exhausting to be like that. It's probably like a lot of other jobs like that. You get to travel, you get to meet cool people, you get to tell stories, you get to have your own interpretation of your way of telling those stories. I mean, there's a million different ways you can tell stories and tell bits of stories and get your point across, and you get to mold that point of view and tell the story. I mean, even if you're telling a story that's a cut and dry story in a certain way, you get to put your own take on it, and it turns into something else, and that's really satisfying. Yeah, there's a lot of perks, I won't lie, and a lot of personal perks. The main thing is you get to bond with different people at different times in your life, and then you create these grand memories. So I really like that part of it. Wow. I don't know. I guess you have to Los Angeles, I would think. I mean, that's probably easier than doing it in New York or somewhere else. They call it Hollywood for a reason. They make everything here. I don't know. You know, I don't know if it's theater you want to do, you know, try to do theater, and you know, if it's film you want to do, try to do theater. You know, maybe put something on that's, you know, that write something for yourself. Try to get it in somewhere. Try to get it on tape. Try to invite people to see it. You know, I don't know, but all the acting classes and stuff like that. I always feel like those are, you know, mostly to get people to feel comfortable to do stuff. You know, I think a lot of it might be a scam. You know, some of it. But I don't know. It's harder than you think. You know what I mean?